Day 4 of the event window, the first round for the women underway. This is the last heat, heat 6, to determine who's going to be making that jump past round 2 into round 3. Nikki Van Dijk up against Sally Fitzgibbons and Malia Manuel. Nikki Van Dijk with a bit of experience with the jersey on here from years gone by as a junior, taking a victory here at Karamas in pumping conditions. Not too dissimilar to what's on hand today, Rosie. So Nikki, she'll be hard to beat. But it is a funny one because the tactics more often than not pay off for that surfer that gets that inside position and rides the first wave. We'll see if that's the case here. Nikki Van Dijk finally gets going and really can't capitalise on that first wave of the heat. So she goes down. It's going to be a throwaway number, 18.5 minutes to go. Bit of movement at the moment. Sally's on that inside track. So she has right away here, but she's going to let this one go. Malia, happy to swoop on it. She's going to get going. Driving down the line, up into the pocket now. And that is a solid hit. Can she add some extras? Works her way through to that inside section. So good use of the 2 scoring opportunities on that ride. A wave that Sally Fitzgibbons passed off.
Gibbons, who had the inside position. See the speed that she gathers. This wave had, you know, it was a tough section to attack, and she did so well to stay out in front of it, and then also getting this inside connection. Checked it out with a lot of speed. You can see this wave just impacting that reef with a lot of water and force moving. You can see it go a bit square there on that inside shallow section, and then a second turn. So good start from Malia. The last time we saw the braids and the white shorts, she was in the final in Maui. So bringing that same kind of sentimental outfit and approach here to Karamas.
Got what she wanted. She held her nerve. She got that inside position. And she'll now try and capitalise when the big set waves start rolling in. Nikki Van Dijk taking off, tucking into a clamping barrel. She goes down. So a couple of throwaways for Nikki to kick this one off. It's fantastic to see. Out in the lineup, Sally Fitzgibbons worked hard to get inside position and priority, and now she's swinging on what you'd call a medium-sized set, alive through that first turn. Again, just hammers the pocket of this wave, trying to win the exchange in the opening stages here, or with the opening rides, I should say. We're more than halfway through the heat before Sally's taken this first wave. What did you make of it?
I think she's going to just add to that scoreline and be way out ahead now. And then Sally, this little wave had a lot of cup in it, but a smaller wave. Her technique, her surfing is just right there. It's just this wave. That was a working wave. She had to really just dig in. Wanted a set to come through, but that time just became the enemy. She had to get going. She had to get a campaign started, and here we see a set on the horizon.
And Malia looking for a backup to go to the 6.83. Big first turn. A huge fan of spray thrown up into the sky. Works that pocket over a few times more. And she adds a good finish to this one. Needs to ride out of this last turn, but can't quite do it.
On an inside one, turn around and your competitors on the bomb out the back, and you kind of have to watch them surf the wave. So Malia, look at the glide in for this wave. Comes around that section, a lot of speed. Throws in that rail and then gets another carve. So 2 different maneuvers, and then gets into the lip again. There's Sally paddling over that one. Tries to go for the finish, gets hung up there. We've seen Malia do that before, hand up to be a contender.
And here she is. So taking a smaller wave once again. Throwing everything at the end section, busting those fins free. So even though she's getting these smaller waves, she's doing the kind of surfing that's going to be asking the question of the judges, because there's an element of risk involved.
You see Sally, she would have been out the back knowing that this is an opportunity for her. So it gets that tail slide. There's a lot of foam on the face of this wave. She still works it over, but then this end section frees the fin, goes out the back. And then already, you know, the 5, 6, 7 in her scoreline on a medium-sized wave. She knows if she gets another good score like that, she can be right there in the conversation, depending on, you know, what Malia locks in for her last ride.
Well, Nikki's going to try and get herself in this heat now with 7.5 minutes to go. Has plenty of speed for this first section. Has to adjust for the first move. The wave just cupping out a little bit too much. Starting to taper off.
Get another maneuver in. And then Nikki Van Dijk, you mentioned her trying to transition through that turn, changes her timing, cuts back so that she can stay in the critical part of the wave. So important little intricacies on Nikki's ride to make sure that she kind of maximized that ride. As we see this aerial view, attacks this first section. She did have to kind of change her approach midway through that turn. Goes to the carve and then cuts, back down through this wave, trying to find more open face. It flattens out, you can tell there.
Behind her, Malia in great rhythm at the moment. And there is a beautiful hit, just weightless as she falls out of the sky. And make sure she gets the finish this time. So she had a 6.23 on her previous wave, and that one just felt like it was going to be the best wave of the heat, didn't it?
It was just a gift. You can tell when it comes your way, it has that open face to work with. It's got every section, not a drop of water out of place, and just the weight distribution that she puts on to kind of handle those tail drop maneuvers, finds that weightless feeling, and just makes sure that she never leans too far back or too far forward, just handles it so well.
I think Malia's got a bit more oomph she can add to that. Those waves were almost running away from her so quickly she had to pull out of some of those turns because she was falling out of the sky. But right now out the back and in the barrel, Sally Fitzgibbons finally connects with what you'd call a Corona special and gets herself well slotted. No one's comboed in this heat, so it can be turned with an excellent score, and we might see one drop for the three-time world title runner-up.
Yeah, she's been chipping away at it, waiting for her turn to be on a set. You look at her scores at the moment, those have all been medium-sized waves, but I love the way she just backdoors this section. Just a beautiful cylinder, that vision that she got. She adjusts the feet to get into that stance, to get the cutback going. And you can tell by the body language, it's just relief to get that set wave and find something special in this lineup. So Sally just spending some time in the shade, the feet adjust to get the cutback going. She could have maybe dug in a little bit more on that turn, but just so good to see Sally kind of get an opportunity. She's had the medium-sized waves, nothing too special, but that ride right there, beautiful barrel from Sally. Goes for the grab rail cutty.
Really good adjustments inside the tube as well.
About the stress paddling into that wave with a little bit of time on the clock. You don't want to mess that one up, and Sally just rode it beautifully.
And now Nikki Van Dijk gets an opportunity. Very stylish on the entry here. And Nikki goes to that cutback and just gets a little ankle tapped in the whitewater there, trying to ride out. Be a good score, but there was points left on that wave.
Yeah, definitely. But just going back to the beginning of that wave, the takeoff from Nikki, as we're going to see it here, just so stylish, so beautiful. Watching that arm drag, just knowing that she wants to slow herself down. And you said there's an opportunity to add more points on the board if you just lay into that rail and get that cutty sorted. But beautiful takeoff and just extension of the body, just spending a lot of time in that barrel. And then you could see that bit of spit, so that thing was wide open for Nikki Van Dijk. Beautifully ridden there for her. Only thing that we're taking away from her is that on that exit, just lay into that cutty.
Love the entry into that barrel, though. So stylish. The numbers took a while to come through for Malia Manuel, but she did drop an 8.17 on a previous wave. Sally Fitzgibbons needs a 9.33 from the barrel ride. And she's not thinking about that at the moment, just thinking about taking this wave apart on the inside. A really nice sequence of major turns. Looking to add extras at the end of that one. Likes the feel of the ride. Big numbers dropping for the tube ride for Sally Fitzgibbons. An 8.1, so the requirement from that last ride is 6.91, and she did surf that wave incredibly well. Oh,
let's get fresh eyes on this, and knowing that she needs that score. So just digging deep on that first turn, a lot of speed to go into that second, and then finds that connection and made sure she just completed this wave. So those last two turns, a tiny bit safe, but still solid, beautiful surfing from Sally. The first two turns, I really like what she was doing there and what she had to work with, and knowing that there was that smaller score requirement.
Is coming through for Sally Fitzgibbons.
Oh, wow.
It is right there. She was chasing a 6.91. It has dropped in at a 6.87, so just short. Malia Manuel hangs on to the lead, a heat score total of 15.